Welcome back to the Vi Media channel, and thank you for listening here today. Marketing Monday. Welcome back. And today we have a new face, Zach Dixon. He is our Director of Search Engine Marketing here at Vi Media. And today we're going to talk about SEO. I hinted at this episode a couple weeks ago when we talked about backlinks. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail, talk to the man himself that runs everything SEO on our team. Everything goes through him. So with that said, we're going to talk about research, Google Business Profile and citations, the website, and then ongoing SEO, and really kind of developing a strategy for SEO. So first things first, Zach, what's up, dude? Happy birthday, first of all.
Yeah, thank you.
He's on the podcast, or he's on the Marketing Monday episode on his birthday. He showed up. He's not hungover. Maybe he is. If he is, we won't ask him.
I'm just playing it off.
There we go. There we go. All right. So you've been at Vi now for, what, 5.5 years? 5.5 years?
2018 is when I started.
Okay, so
June.
Okay, so you were just 6 years. I was about to say.
Yeah.
All right, so 6 years. I remember you started in sales, cold calling.
Ugh,
Got
terrible.
one of our clients that we still do work with to this day.
Still to this day.
Shout out Barefoot Flooring.
Yes.
And and then you moved over to SEO. I think after what 6 months of probably doing sales.
So
Maybe a little bit longer.
It started sales, and then I went to social media posting.
That's
just
right.
Organic.
That's
and
right.
then content writing,
Mm-hmm.
and then just full-time SEO strategy, everything like that. All
So-
the above.
Why SEO?
Why SEO? So originally I wanted to get into advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Like creating copy for print ads. I really wanted to write commercials. That was a huge thing of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then that didn't pan out. It was so difficult to find an internship.
Yep.
So you guys reached out for the sales position. I didn't want to do sales,
Yeah.
but you guys were like, hey, try it for a little bit, and then we'll figure out a place for you to go from there.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. And then luckily went into social media, and then eventually SEO. And really what called me for that was just the ability to write.
Yeah.
I love copywriting, and getting to write on that website. And then I fell in love with strategy and research.
Mm-hmm. So you and Matt are similar in terms of liking the numbers.
I love numbers.
Yep.
Well, I love numbers and creative. I love both of them, which is kind of a rare combination.
Yep.
Um,
But that's what you need for SEO.
yeah, it
Literally,
really
those
is.
are the two things.
So it was a perfect match in general.
So a lot of people don't understand SEO. They don't know what goes into it. Most marketing companies, that we talk to, no one knows really the deliverables that they're getting.
Right.
That's why we kind of developed the credit system a couple of years ago to be able to show exactly where their dollars are being spent in terms of SEO. If it's ongoing, we're working on new pages, content, getting backlinks, whatever it is, we can show exactly that. But I want to talk about kind of the strategy that we take. Obviously, the first thing we need to go ahead and do when we're working with someone new, or even before we work with someone new in order to develop a plan, is research. So one tool I've talked about, Bright Local, talked about it on here. It's a great tool. You can look at heat maps of how well your Google Business Profile ranks for keywords, how well, organically your website ranks in comparison to competitors, gives you a breakdown of SEO. But really, when it comes to research, what's the most important things you're kind of looking at?
Most important things for me, first off, just taking a look at the overall website.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what does that content look like? What's the structure look like? What kind of errors am I seeing? Really just what is there a lack of?
Yeah.
What is there too much of? You get a lot of things in between. And then also kind of to go back to Bright Local, what do those citations look like?
Yeah.
Citations are just another form of kind of that old school phone book, yellow book in a way. And Yellow Pages is one of them, actually. There's just so many of them. And to just be listed on all of them is better for kind of any local service business.
So when we're doing keyword research, right, with Ahrefs, we use Ahrefs, right? So we can do keyword research and really kind of see from a keyword difficulty standpoint how well other competitors are ranking. Is it worth our time to try and rank for those keywords? So I always say, when we're kind of developing the site map and figuring out, what pages do we actually need to build on the site? Because of course that's kind of the first thing to obviously set up, right? If you don't have if you don't have the content on the site, if you're not telling Google you do this, Google's not going to know.
Right.
So building out the sitemap, how do you kind of develop a sitemap? How do you go through that process?
Right. So it starts on really just saying, what do they have now?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times what we see is we'll see websites that have one big service page,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of from there they have everything listed on there.
Mm-hmm.
For SEO, even for just kind of conversion purposes, it's always great to have kind of a page for each service as long as you have the information with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I always start there, seeing what they have, and then from there I go to competitor research.
Yep.
Who is ranking for those keywords off the top of my head that I know you probably should be showing up for?
Mm-hmm.
And then what do they have? How do they build out their site? What's the structure? I look through all the ones on the first page, go through a few on the second page, and just take notes on all the similarities. And then from there is kind of where I look at actual keyword research and kind of figuring out, okay, where are missed opportunities?
Mm-hmm.
Where can we create pages that provide enough content that's beneficial and at the same time gives us the opportunity to match that keyword density
Yep.
that Google's looking for to help them rank for
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
I've never said the name of the software that we use for that,
okay.
mainly because I don't know.
There's a few out there.
But yeah.
There's a few out there.
But I say we use software at Vi really for research purposes, right? We see a lot of SEO companies specifically. It's very easy to get caught up in ChatGPT or other AI programs to have them write bullshit
Right.
content to put that onto a website, and we talked to, a company a couple weeks ago where they were saying, they removed all their location pages for St. Louis, right?
Right.
And that's because their SEO company told them to remove it because they had similar content on all those pages. And it's like, exactly. So go ahead and change that content on those pages. Don't just delete those pages
Right.
just for the sake of deleting them. So it's always interesting, the information that we get from people about what SEO companies tell them and how people go about really performing SEO, because it seems like for the most part, again, no one knows this, and I've talked about on Marketing Monday and also on the podcast that as a business owner, the best business owners we work with are ones that the ones that either know their shit very well in marketing or know a good amount and are really knowledgeable. It's tough to work with people that just have no understanding of SEO or limited understanding of SEO.
Right.
Because it's hard to, tell them exactly how everything's performing because they don't have an understanding of just the performance to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, we have a ton of videos. There's a ton of content out there just for business owners to get at least a decent idea of how well their marketing is working. And last week I talked about how they can go in and audit that performance themselves with like SEO Meta One Click that we use from an extension basis just to quickly see, hey, are the page titles, header tags, just from a standpoint of, is your website even set up properly with the main things that Google wants to see, and things like that. So we got the research. I harp on the Google Business Profile all the time, but tell me about Google Business Profile and setting up those citations, which you kind of talked about briefly before.
Yeah. So the Google Business Profile, especially for a local service-based business, I think is one of the most important things you can have. It's a great source for calls and website visits. And if you have a physical storefront, that directions button definitely helps show how many people are. It gives you an idea of people going to the store and wanting to get directions. But like I said, it plays such a pivotal role. It shows you all the information about your business right then and there. What services you provide, your address, your phone number. You can even have buttons to book now. So with that Google Business Profile, citations, again, huge. It feeds that profile. It helps establish that service area. And then it goes back to the website too. Your Google Business Profile feeds off your website. And that's what I think a lot of people just don't understand. You could write everything you want. You could have a perfectly optimized Google Business Profile. But to have a website that, needs SEO help, it's gonna hurt it.
Yep.
So,
especially in those industries where it's highly competitive, where we work a lot in, roofing, HVAC, plumbing, restoration, these guys are spending an absolute buttload of money. So that they have a lot of this stuff set up. And the Google Business Profile, I mean, from what we've seen, we started working with a foundation repair company here in St. Louis. I guess at that very end of last year, maybe beginning of this year.
Mhm.
And, we set up a new Google business profile for them in St. Charles.
Yep.
And of course, we built out a new website for them as well, separate of their corporate site. And that Google business profile pretty much immediately started and is still doing significantly better than the website is from a lead generation standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting great hits on calls. It's providing website visits, and it took off so quickly, which is, kind of goes to show one how important optimization is,
Mhm.
setting up a business profile properly, and then optimizing the website, and then it leads to another point: how important it is to get steady reviews to your Google Business Profile.
Yeah, he does a very good job of that.
He does a great job, and
I think they already have like 50 in St. Charles or close to
yeah,
it.
and we set it up, I think, beginning of January.
That sounds right. Yeah.
I think the first 3 months is when I took that official like heat map ranking of everything.
hmm
And what that does is it just shows, you put a heat map of the area, and then it shows you what position you are in the top three of the map pack. But great rankings automatically, which I've never seen before. But at the same time, they were already getting reviews like
hmm
constantly. They probably had 10 already at that time.
Yep. And it's nice to work again with working with them. Um, he's very aware of the business side.
Right.
So it made everything a smooth process. And I think, with him, it was brand new,
Mhm.
right? So we started literally from scratch with that Google business profile, with the website and everything else. And I think it just goes to show that we've done this so many times now that if we can do it correctly the first time,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, it's going to set you up for success. That way, you're not a company that's been in business for 15, 20 years, 50 years, whatever, and you're still sitting there with a Google business profile that doesn't rank because, for example, you don't have an address.
Yep.
And I was just talking to a cleaning company yesterday. They have the service area.
Service area.
I was like, dude, you're not. I know for a fact you're not getting hardly anything.
Yeah.
Because the only time that stuff ever ranks if you're like if you're like, say you're in Columbia, Missouri, and there's only two of those companies,
Yeah.
right? Then obviously it doesn't matter. But, if you're in a business in cleaning or, home services, there's 50, 100 plus of those businesses here in St. Louis. If you don't have a specific address, number one, you're already shooting yourself in the foot. We talked about kind of what we look at on the website, building out the sitemap. But really when it comes to, the content and figuring out how to properly set up a page, right? One thing I always say is, SEO is one thing, but we also want to write that content to convert that person.
Right.
Because obviously we want to get to the person to the website, but there used to be SEO, when we started, and it's really kind of moving away from this now, especially with kind of Google taking a hard stance against AI written content. But, 6.5, even 4 years ago, I remember there was one company here in St. Louis that a lot of the companies they worked for ranked really well.
Mhm.
But you'd go to the website and it was literally just hammered. It was just keywords,
Yeah.
right? It was just services. And you'd read it and it's unreadable.
Yeah.
It's literally
it's
unreadable.
boring. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's just literally just, listing out the keywords, being like, we are the best foundation repair company in St. Louis. Call us
Right.
now for your free foundation repair quote. Foundation repair in every sentence. It's
Yeah.
just like no one can read this. It's terrible.
No.
So what is your thought on how to create just one page
hmm
with SEO in mind? What's the best way to do that?
I mean, so to go back to your point, originally, yeah, it was to try to get, at one time, try to get as many keywords as you could
Mm-hmm.
in the copy.
Yep.
Then it slowly switched to, okay, copywriting is becoming more important.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's got to sound more natural, but you can still fit those keywords in. Now, with all the algorithm updates and everything Google's doing, copywriting is just so important. And even that shorter form copy, that fitting those keywords in and making everything sound awkward how it used to,
Mm-hmm.
it's really just not as important as it was.
Yep.
Maybe having those in your headings, having it maybe every once in a while. The goal right now is Google is really moving towards user usability,
Yep.
essentially. So when I'm structuring a page, it kind of just goes back to kind of what you're taught with basic copywriting.
Mhm.
Keep it short, keep it interesting, and take your reader on a journey to convert.
Yeah.
Give them all the information they need. Have that introduction to lock them in. Um, give them a little information about the business, how we can help.
Mhm.
Uh, signs for different things. Show them authority, reviews,
Yep.
and then try to close it. Call to action.
Yep.
So
Couldn't have said it better myself. So building out pages on the website, important, ranking important, and then obviously converting important.
Yep.
Okay, so you have your Google business profile, you have citations, you have some research, you have your website set up. Now it's time to work on it ongoing on SEO. So, of course, like I was saying before, you have a website that's been set up for a while. At some point, you're going to have to go back through the old pages,
Yep.
right? Update that stuff with copy, because the way people search changes, and the way that Google obviously reads your website changes.
Yeah.
So eventually we're going to have to go back and update it. And, maybe not every year, every 2 years, but if you work with a company long enough with which hopefully you are with SEO, eventually 5 years down the road, maybe something you wrote about has also changed. So
Yeah,
it's like,
sure.
the best way to fix a toilet, for example, and you're a plumber, well, all of a sudden, that way that we wrote about 5 years ago is no longer the best way. So then obviously we have to go back and change that stuff. Getting backlinks. There's one thing I really haven't. I went through backlinks and I talked about it on an episode here. But if you kind of want to take us through the journey of ongoing, how do we do it at Vi with creating new content, backlinks, posting on the Google business profile, things like that?
Yeah. Kind of like you said, it starts with just creating content.
Mhm.
Blog posting may seem a little, for some, when I know for some business owners, when they hear blog posting, they're like, okay, how
Mhm.
is this going to help me convert? Well, the main goal is to, rank for those keywords, provide information for people searching, and then you get users to the site.
Mhm.
A huge ranking factor for Google now is the more users you get to the site, the longer they stay on, everything like that.
Mhm.
It just builds more authority. It helps with your rankings. And then kind of one of another hidden thing with the blog posting is just interlinking also.
Yep.
So interlinking, unlike backlinking, is when you link between pages on your site,
Mhm.
link between other content, everything like that. But with that great content, you get the opportunity for other people who are creating similar content to link to yours.
Yep.
It's a big way we get backlinks to the website, um, essentially organically. And then
Mhm.
another big one, which I'm not sure if you talked about yet, is just kind of like that local sponsorships
Mhm.
and just building local PR essentially
Yep.
to show your service area and then just show you're really a part of it.
Mhm. So, ongoing SEO. When we're looking at really what to measure when it comes to SEO, what should a marketing company, obviously a marketing company, for example, we provide, obviously Google Analytics, Google Search Console, and have that stuff set up. We also build out a dashboard that takes all of that data and moves it into an easy way really to view that and digest that data, not only for our clients, but really for ourselves as well. Because if you're familiar with those programs, they really are a pain in the ass to sometimes figure out how to adjust different values or filters to get to the information you actually want.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you take a look at? What are you looking at when we're working at SEO to make sure we're moving in the right direction?
Yeah. So first thing first, I just take note of all our main keywords.
Mhm.
What are we trying to rank for? What are those money keywords?
Mhm.
And then kind of how are we doing? Are we still showing up? Is Google still reporting it? What direction are we moving in? Everything like that. Then, how many visitors are we getting to the website?
Mhm.
Is it something that we are seeing is growing every month? And if it's not growing, our impressions,
Yep.
are those going up? Are we still getting exposure? And maybe it's just our keyword position is kind of stuck.
Mhm.
So, kind of looking at all that, making sure we see a consistent growth over time. Because more impressions you get, obviously more keywords coming into the site,
Yep.
better opportunities for exposure,
Mhm.
and then obviously everybody wants more site visitors.
Yep.
Obviously the local the better for local service businesses, but for that content you want it too, just to help that grow also.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So talked about SEO. If you guys want to know more, leave a comment. If we talked about something you want to know more about or didn't talk about something, let us know. Curious though, did you see the FTC chair? Lena Khan, I think is her name. Anyone? Lena Khan?
No.
FTC chair? She's killing it. She's the one that got rid of non-competes, but she just, I think, enacted like 4 days ago saying that fake or AI-generated reviews are illegal now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
We hate at Vi Media fake reviews.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
always advise against it. We get that question, I wouldn't say all the time, but maybe 1 in every 10 or so clients.
I would say once a month.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
get that question.
Well, yeah. They always ask about it, and it's a hard no for me.
Absolutely.
It's just not worth the risk.
Mm-mm.
You get that listing suspended, and then you're just out of luck.
Well, we just went through that process. We had a listing that Google wouldn't put back up after we, they didn't have access to it, right?
Okay.
So they didn't have access to the listing. So we got access to the listing, and then they took the listing down for like 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay.
As they investigated it and then
Yeah.
finally put it back up. But that was the company I was talking about earlier that we set up the address and everything for them. But for 2 weeks during arguably a good time to make money for that business, it was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
And there was nothing we could do about it. And,
Yeah.
you know, we were emailing Google every day being like, hey.
Customer support is terrible now.
Yeah, they don't care.
It takes forever. They have millions of businesses they're working with.
Yeah. They're like, we know how important the Google business profile is to your business. Yeah. It's like this should take like an AI person 1 second to look at and just be like, you're good.
Yeah.
So it's insane. But I'm glad about that FTC thing with fake reviews. That was awesome news. And I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. And the other thing that I meant to ask you about is with the AI content now that pulls up on Google, Vi is showing up for that in St. Louis, and people
showing up like if you search Vi.
Yeah, no, like best digital marketing company, things like that.
Okay.
Especially if you're in Maryland Heights, because that's where we're at. It's pulling information from our website and showing it.
Okay.
As an answer, as one of the companies that it recommends. And the thing I'll say there is people always ask, how do you rank there? And really it just goes back to providing valuable content, again, that ranks or that has the keywords that people are searching for. But number 2 is actually answering and giving valuable information, right? Because you'll notice, or at least I've noticed that a lot of those AI answers, if you click on those websites, it's usually a pretty in-depth answer.
Yeah.
It's not someone just like an FAQ page of like 1 sentence.
No, they want to provide as much detail as possible because 1, they want you to use it. But 2, they're going to really look at who's an expert.
Yep.
Because we want to make sure that we're providing them with the absolute best answer. So they're going to essentially take who has the best SEO.
Yeah.
That's what it's been showing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we also notice companies that like rank really well just for like 1 blog on their website.
Yep.
And that 1 blog generates 95% of the traffic to their site.
Yeah.
And it's crazy when that happens. Even if you're giving valuable information to them and, only, maybe even 95% of those people of that 95% aren't ever going to become a client, but maybe they will in the future.
Yeah.
Because they know that now you're an expert in whatever you were talking about. So if it was my air conditioning filter, right, for example, how do I change this out? Great. A St. Louis company has an article about it. They wrote about it. And not only that, they have a video on YouTube. Great. Perfect.
Right.
And, obviously they watch that. And let's just say, for example, there's an issue with the filter or there's an issue with the machine.
Yeah.
Now they're already on that person's website. They already know about them. Of course, more likely than not, they're going to call them and reach out to them to book an appointment, right? Or in the future, hopefully they remember that time that they went to that website page, got that information, and then they look them up in the future, or that company is running Google Ads or just ranks really well in SEO, and they're just searching whatever, air conditioning company, and they're like, oh shit, that's right, I remember. I read that article about them. They helped me out with my filter, 3 years ago, whatever it was.
Exactly.
So it's all about building brand awareness, especially as well, which really we don't talk about a lot at Vi, I should say, because we do offer social and content, but really our biggest thing the whole time we've been pretty much in business is return on investment through people already searching for what you do.
Right.
There's already people searching for what you do. Just make sure you're getting in front of those people and get that business.
Mhm.
Why worry about generating, a social media ad with someone that may or may not have an issue? There's already people searching for issues that you could fix right now. Just go after them. But obviously you know, that's a small part of the bucket, right? Obviously, if we want to look at it from a standpoint of being in business for 5, 10, 20, 50 years, we need to look at other avenues to maybe the return on investment isn't as good on the other side, but what we're looking at it from a brand standpoint, and we've had companies that their cost per lead through ads is like half of what another competitor would be just because of their brand name.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand in a way.
Mhm.
You're always going to have those brands that you see, all over the internet with their ad, and it's just to get their name out there.
Mhm.
But it's always the ones who stick is who you think of first. Um, Especially while you're doing a Google search.
Yep.
If you see them in those results, you're like, oh yeah, let me
Mm.
call them. I know them. I
Mhm.
trust them,
Yep.
even though you may have never worked with them.
Exactly.
So,
Just by having that valuable content on the website. That's all I got. Anything else? Closing statement, closing remarks? Any
um,
tips, tricks you got?
tips and tricks. Just keep doing the basics.
Mhm.
With SEO, it's a lot. It's a
It
long
is.
list of things you have to keep track of and make sure you're doing in your checklist. Um, but we always say it's a marathon and not a sprint.
Mhm.
And it's definitely a marathon.
Yep.
Especially all these Google updates, changes that are made, competitors doing SEO. It's a constant, just roller coaster.
Yep.
So
Yep. So make sure you have that stuff set up. If you have, again, any questions, anything you guys want to learn more about, please leave it in the comments. As always, this was another Marketing Monday episode sponsored by the best damn marketing company on the planet, Vi Media. If you want to talk to yours truly here, Zach across the table, if we're going to be working on SEO, the other team members we've had on this podcast, on this Marketing Monday episode, I should say, please reach out to us at vi.media. If we get a couple more people to reach out to us, maybe we'll just splurge on the vimedia.com. But at this point, we'll have to.
it's too late now.
We'll
From
have
an
to,
SEO point, it's too
yeah,
late.
you're right. You're right. Damn it. Vi.media. There we're at. Thank you all for listening. And as always, like, review, subscribe, leave a comment, share with the business owner, share with the marketing executive. We appreciate everyone's support, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.